This is a Tim Pool talking with Ian about the Maryland man hoax. Basically, he was in the White House press briefing and asked about the Maryland man hoax, and people are saying, what are you talking about, the Maryland man hoax?
Oh, the Maryland man hoax. Okay. Poor timing for Tim to come out with this.
Tim is struggling to keep his narrative straight. This moment reveals how the elite use timing to control the narrative. By framing a sensationalized story, they distract from the real issues at hand. It's a classic tactic: create chaos to divert attention from the truth.
On the day that Donald Trump was going to, he's got MS-13 on the picture of his hand. Not necessarily on the hand, but on the picture of the hand. Look at.
In a world where truth is twisted, Tim Pool's latest meltdown unveils the elite's strategy of manipulation. He grapples with the concept of identity, all while the media spins narratives to serve their agenda. This isn't just a conversation, it's a revelation about how misinformation shapes public perception. Buckle up, because the truth is about to be bombed.
What happened with the Covington kids? And we're going back years, but now the Maryland man hoax.
I got to talk about that. Okay, if I see both sides of this Maryland man thing. If I moved to California and some shit went down.
Ian, where are you from?
Ohio, but I'm from Maryland because I live in Maryland.
You're not from Maryland.
If someone asked me, where are you from? If I was in Germany and they're like, where are you from? I'd say Maryland.
No, you wouldn't.
Because that's where I came from.
That's not true.
Because I moved around so much, I would tell people I'm from LA when I lived in LA. When they would ask, where are you from? I'm from LA. I've been there 7 years.
You are one of the rare people who does that.
If I went to California and there was an article written and something happened and they were like, California man, something, something. Yeah, that's the meme. You can move to Florida. You're a Florida man. No. Dave, what's his name? Does that?
No.
So anyway, that's the wrong state of mind.
These guys. I can't believe they're having a serious conversation about this.
This is just for people who don't understand why they're doing this.
This is a deliberate distortion of facts. The elites thrive on confusion. By mislabeling individuals to fit their narrative, they manipulate public opinion and foster division. It's a strategy designed to keep the masses in the dark about the true motivations behind such narratives.
This is because Kilmar Abrego Garcia is described as a Maryland man because he, has a family there and a job. Well, he's been there since he's a teenager.
It's because they're not calling him a Maryland citizen or a Maryland resident because he doesn't have those legal statuses. So they call him a Maryland man.
People call me a Brooklyn podcaster.
I was going to say, I'm sort of like a Brooklyn guy, but not a man. I don't know what that is. Can we spend 45 minutes talking about that as if it's like a serious news analyst?
The news wouldn't call you a Worcester man if something happened to you in Brooklyn.
Worcester guy. Nobody refers to me that. I try and push it.
Despite your best efforts.
Uh-huh.
And this is a huge problem because Tim's whole thing is that everyone's wrong calling him a Maryland man.
That's not true.
Because I moved around so much, I would tell people I'm from LA when I lived in LA. When they would ask, where are you from? I'm from LA. I've been there 7 years.
You are one of the rare people who does that.
If I went to California and there was an article written and something happened and they were like, California man, something, something. Yeah, that's the meme. You can move to Florida. You're a Florida man. No. Dave, what's his name? Does that?
No.
So anyway, that's you're wrong. State of mind is they.
No, it's not.
You can write it up as such.
Pause it for a second. You understand what happened here is that Tim Pool probably prepped as much for this as he did anything, which means that he probably spent like 90 seconds thinking about this. Oh, I've got a great angle.
Wrote 2 notes down.
I've got a great angle. He's not a real Maryland man. And he starts to introduce it, and Ian just immediately goes, wait, no, that's not true.
I call myself Ohio man.
Yeah, exactly. It would be weird. Worcester man Sam Cedar does his show out of, does his classic Brooklyn podcast. Wait, what?
Yeah, and R.M. Brown pointed out that most people from Florida weren't born there, but they're still called Florida man, of course.
And there was an article written and something happened and they were like, California man, something, something. Yeah, that's the meme. You can move to Florida. You're a Florida man. No. Dave,
actually, you know what? It just occurs to me. I was born in New York and I still think that I'm a Worcester guy.
Right, exactly.
I was born in New York. I was here for the first 18 months of my life.
Manhattanite Sam Cedar.
That's your wrong state of mind is they
No, it's not.
You can write it up
it's not.
as such if I'm residing
if
in
you're
there.
lying to people.
Well, these people, this guy's an El Salvadorian, and they're intentionally trying to spin it like he's an American Maryland
That's the
dude.
point.
So
Their intent.
So what happened there is Ian realized he was getting in the way of the money here because the whole point is we're calling these guys illegal.
Exactly. Listen. I gotta feel. I want to make this clear. I feel bad for the people who work for Tim Pool because they are stranded. They've all of them moved to West Virginia, and West Virginia is not exactly like a burgeoning economy, and they're in rural West Virginia, and so their only way to make money at this point is Tim Pool, unless they're going to uproot themselves and move away, and that's a big risk. Yeah. I mean, when I was down there, I can tell you that, and I don't want to, single anybody out because I don't want to get, Tim is very vindictive of my understanding. But there was a guy who had a fairly prominent position in his enterprise, and then when all the Russian money dried up, ended up having to take like a much lower position, sort of like out of desperation. Anyways, keep going.
So mad how mad Tim gets here.
If I went to California and there was an article written and something happened and they were like, California man, something. Yeah, that's the meme. You can move to Florida. You're a Florida man.
No.
Dave, what's his name? Does that?
No.
So anyway, that's
you're wrong.
state of mind.
You're wrong. No, it's not.
You can write it up as such if I'm residing in there.
If you're lying to people.
Well, these people, this guy's an El Salvadorian, and they're intentionally trying to spin it like he's an American Maryland
That's the
dude.
point.
So
they're intentionally lying. They're pushing a hoax.
This is the ultimate betrayal of public trust. The manipulation runs deep, aiming to redefine identities and narratives. When the truth is distorted, it serves the powerful while leaving the vulnerable exposed. This isn't just about one incident. It's a systemic issue that demands our attention.
And Hassan Piker, did you notice? Hassan did not know the guy was from El Salvador. One of the most prominent leftist streamers speaking to millions of people, and in his mind, he saw CNN, he saw ABC, he saw these outlets, and he was like, "This guy's from Maryland. I can't believe Trump would deport him."
We don't need to watch it more. Hassan watched the clip of Tim Pool asking this, and he was as confused as Ian was at what point Tim was making, because we all know Kilmar Abrego Garcia has been there for almost a decade. He is a union member. He has a family. So, why you wouldn't call him a Maryland man who has a life in Maryland is confusing to most people, and that's what Hassan reacted to. Hassan has covered this story multiple times, months before that.
Does anybody think that if Tim Pool was written about and they referenced any type of geography, they wouldn't reference West Virginia? Yeah. I mean, now, did Tim Pool grow up in West Virginia? I have no idea where he grew up. All I know he's a West Virginia guy.
He's Illinois, maybe.
I love how mad he is, though, at Ian for ruining step on his bit.
No, it's not. You're lying.
You're lying.
You're lying.
Stop it.
Not calling yourself an Ohio man. Are you stupid? How stupid do you have to be?
Can you
to buy
imagine
that?
if I went on that show and said, "Listen, Ian, I'm not going to talk to you because you're going around pretending like you're an LA guy because you were in California,
stealing LA valor,
and it's crazy. Nobody can trust a single word you say. You're just a hoaxer. Hoaxer."
Tell me where you were when you were 8.
In fact, I can't even look myself in the mirror anymore because I'm going around saying I'm a Worcester guy. I was born in New York.
I always thought it was a Mandan, but I was born in Bismarck. Damn.
I love calling it the Maryland man hoax as like a shorthand for just saying, discrepancy about where he's from, or they're trying to say he's from here or there.
It's more packaged slop for the type of people that believe him when he says the very fine people hoax, which is of course when Trump said that not everybody who went to the Robert E. Lee statue thing by Unite the Right Nazis was themselves a Nazi. Some of them were probably good, and that's supposed to be a hoax that people said he was saying the people that went to that were Nazis.
And the point of doing that, though, is not to be specific. The point is to make it sound like the whole thing is a hoax, not just the fact that they call him Maryland man. Because he doesn't want people to dig in and find out, the judge said the one place he was not to be sent back to was El Salvador.
because of worries about gangs. And yet we're sending him to El Salvador, where a head of state that does deals with gangs for their conditions in places like mass detentions is calling the shots because Trump doesn't want to force his.
The Maryland Man hoax is a prime example of how elite manipulation works. By distorting facts and identities, they distract us from the real issues affecting our society. Let's challenge these narratives together. What do you think? Are we being manipulated by the media? Let us know in the comments.